Hello everybody, I'm Martin Riggs, and here today I'm going to go through a short captain build guide. And what I'd like to accomplish today is go through some of the beginning builds for your captain skills, and this is aimed particularly at newer players. And so what I'm going to show you here today is I'm going to go through each of the different classes, and we're going to look at essentially the skills you should be taking with your first 10 points, your first 10 captain points that you get. And what I would like to do is show you what is essentially a generalist build. So there's not going to be anything specific to certain ships or specific play styles. This is essentially going to be a sort of vanilla look at good captain builds where as you develop and learn more skills and sort of start to tweak your play style to fit how you want to play the game, these builds should be something that you don't have to go back and respec necessarily. If you spend your first 10 points in these areas, I think that regardless of how you choose to build your ships later on, you should still have viable captains. So for me personally, when I started out, I made all sorts of captain build mistakes, and I had to go back and respec them, unfortunately sometimes having to spend doubloons. And so what I hope to accomplish here is that you can avoid that. So to start out with, I'm going to take a look at a DD captain here, and we're only going to, again, we're going to look at the first 10 points. So I do have some 19-point captains here. Don't worry about that. I'm going to show you the first 10 points that you want to take. So first off here, the Shimakaze. This is a DD, a destroyer, and so you're going to want to take, I believe, with every single DD essentially, you're going to want to take these first 4 skills. So start out, you'll take priority target, which is going to show you how many ships are currently targeting you. And the reason you do this is not only do you obviously see how many ships are targeting at you or targeting you, looking to shoot at you, but you also see how many ships are potentially on the flank that you might be on. And so there's a lot of good information to be gained from that. Secondly, this is probably the most important early skill to take, is Last Stand. Last Stand is going to allow your engines and your steering gears to continue to operate even if they are damaged. Now they do operate with a penalty, so you're not going to be as maneuverable, as fast, obviously, but they still continue to operate. A DD that cannot move is a dead DD, so you want to take this without question as your second pointer. So once you have 6 points, you're going to have access to this third tier. Here, for every DD, you're going to want to take Survivability Expert. This increases your hit points per ship tier by 350. And the reason you take this is that from a percentage perspective, this is a huge hit point gain for a destroyer. They are the lowest hit point class in the game, and so you are gaining the largest percentage of hit points by taking Survivability Expert. And I cannot stress this enough. This is absolutely critical to your success. Now, for your 10th point, let's say you get to 10 points, you now have access to a 4-point skill here. Concealment Expert is critical on essentially every DD in the game. There are a few exceptions. If you're going for the Khabarovsk or the French DD line, you might not want to take this, but don't worry about that. Basically, for every DD in the game, you're going to want to take Concealment Expert. This is the most critical skill, in addition to Last Stand, of course, but you want to be as sneaky as possible. Stealth is your ally as a destroyer, and you want to maximize that to the best of your ability. So those are your first, essentially, 4 skills that you're going to take with your first 10 points. So as a newer player, get that first point, priority target, you get to your 3rd point, you get a little so basically you get the 3-point captain, you have 2 points to put in Last Stand, next 3 points, Survivability Expert, and then next 4 points, Concealment Expert. This is a really safe build. You're not going to be disappointed and have to redo this later on. All right, for a cruiser, let's take a look at the Zhao here. So for the cruiser, same thing. I like to do priority target. I think this is a very valuable skill for any class of the game, with the exception of the aircraft carrier, of course. But priority target, number 1. Number 2, I like to take Adrenaline Rush. This is going to increase your reload as you lose hit points. So as the battle progresses, your reload is actually improving, which I find extremely helpful. And then for your third point, or your third 3-point skill, I like to take Superintendent. The reason for this is that cruisers usually have a wide variety of consumables, and they do differ between nations what consumables are available. For example, the Americans and Russian cruisers get access to radar. The British get access to radar or smoke, for example. And as you get to the higher tiers, they all have access to a heal, and so you want to have an additional heal. This is just going to help improve your flexibility as a ship, improve your utility, and make you a bigger asset to your team. And then for most cruisers, I cannot recommend Concealment Expert enough as well. Stealth allows you to disengage from fights. You are going to be detected more often as a cruiser than you are going to be as a destroyer, but still being able to go undetected, drop off detection, reposition yourself, very valuable. So again, priority target, I like Adrenaline Rush, Superintendent, and then Concealment Expert for your first 10 points. And I'm not going to worry about the specialist builds again. So we're going to go for generalist builds here, things that are really going to help you just maximize your effectiveness as you're learning the game, and giving you captains here that you're not going to have to respec later on. If you want to, you can later on, but you're not going to feel like you have to. All right, the Montana. So Battleship is going to be a little bit different. I do start with priority target as well. However, for the 2-point, the tier 2 skill, Expert Marksman is very helpful. Turret traverse on battleships is extremely slow, and so you want to try and improve this as much as possible. For your third skill, or your tier 3 skill, I like to take Superintendent. Again, battleships get heals from the very beginning of the game, essentially. So you want to have that additional heal that's going to improve your survivability. Also get access here, for example, on the Montana, access to another spotter plane. So if you have any other consumables, it's also going to give you an extra charge of those as well. But really, the heal is the key part here. You really want that additional heal. It improves your tankiness, allows you to stay in the battle longer. And then for your tier 4 skill, in our current sort of HE fire spam meta, I believe that fire prevention is actually more valuable than concealment. Some people like to take concealment, and you can go that route. It's not a bad option. But I think fire prevention is more important. So in your first 10 points, I would take fire prevention first. So we'd go priority target, Expert Marksman, Superintendent, so you can have those heals, and fire prevention. And that's pretty much a classic start to what would be a battleship sort of tanky build. And that's what you want to do as a battleship. You want to be tanking for the most part. All right, so last but not least, let's take a look at the carrier. You do have a lot more flexibility here. I'm not going to go too much into that. I'm just going to give you the basic helpful skills here that I think you're going to need as a CV player. Air supremacy here. What this does is basically allows your planes to recover faster, so they come back, they recharge, and then they're available again for you to send out. I think this is particularly helpful because that just essentially allows you to keep sending out more planes. Improved engines. This is just going to make your squadron speed faster while they're out flying around. Very helpful skill. Allows you to get back into the battle quicker, allows you to maneuver better. So all around, very solid skill. I take Survivability Expert here as well. This is going to improve your hit points on your aircraft for each tier, which is very helpful, improves your tankability. And then I also recommend Sight Stabilization, which is a very helpful skill. This allows your airplanes to aim faster, essentially. So as soon as you click, you start aiming. This is going to improve the time that your aiming reticle gets as small as possible, and that's going to make your shots the most accurate. And whether that be torpedo bombers, the dive bombers, carpet bombers, or rocket planes. Either way, you're going to improve your aiming time. So those are the 4 different classes and your generalist builds. Those are the way you want to start with your first 10 points, in my opinion. And the reason that I want to reiterate that this is a generalist build is there are a lot of nuances to this, but I want to provide newer players with the sort of foundation to know that they are building a captain in such a way that later on, as they learn more about the game, they're not going to feel like, oh, I've made a critical mistake putting points here, or I've wasted some captain skill points here. Want to avoid that so that this way, as you learn the game, you really have a good idea and a good feel for, what your captain build is and why you've made those choices. And that way, you hopefully won't have to respect your captains. So I'll save you a little bit of doubloons there as well. So I hope you find this video helpful. If you do, please drop it a like, and I will also put our Twitch channel Twitch channel link in the description below. Also, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments below. I'll try and answer those as well. And thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you next time.